There's a moment I remember so clearly. I was sitting at my desk and staring at a blinking cursor. The work I wanted to do wasn't complicated. No looming deadlines, nothing urgent, and yet my whole body felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. My mind was foggy, I couldn't think, I couldn't land on anything solid. I kept thinking, just start, just do something. You've done harder things than this. But the more I tried to force myself forward, the heavier everything felt. Then came the spiral that always comes. Why can't I just focus? What's wrong with me? Why do I always sabotage when it matters most to me? Not because it's urgent, but because I told myself I would do this thing. If you've ever had that experience where basic tasks can feel like climbing a mountain, then you're not the only person. You're not alone, and you're not broken. Because what I eventually learned is this: that freeze wasn't resistance or laziness because I chose it. It was a signal. A signal I didn't have the skills to read yet. But once I did, it changed everything. Let's talk about what freeze really is. It's not just mental, it can be deeply physical too. Your thoughts might still be spinning, but your body, it's locked, stuck between some kind of feigned urgency and paralysis. In my case, it wasn't occasional procrastination, it was a habitual pattern. Every time, seriously, every time I sat down to work, I felt the same wave. The pressure to get it right, the fear of doing it wrong, and the panic that if I didn't do it perfectly, then I was defective as a person. And that emotional noise makes even small tasks feel unsafe. That freeze was my nervous system pulling the emergency brake. Ironically, what made it worse is that I kept trying to just push through it. All the advice I'd heard, just start, just eat the frog piece by piece, discipline equals freedom, only made me feel more broken when I couldn't follow it. Because force wasn't solving the problem. It was layering more shame on top of fear. Eventually, I realized something had to change, not just how I was trying to fix all this, but in how I was relating to myself. So I stopped pushing harder and I got curious. What is this feeling? What's actually happening when I sit down and freeze? What am I afraid of? There was one day in particular where I did something different for the first time. Instead of fighting the freeze, I paused and I used all my remaining energy to ask one simple question. What would make this feel lighter right now? Not easier, not faster, just lighter. And the answer wasn't some kind of productivity hack or a better habit or just forcing myself to try. It was, I don't need to finish this entire thing. I don't need to care about the outcome. I just need to write one sentence. And that was my first micro win. Sure, there's other productivity advice that sounds like that, but it's still wrapped up in the idea that what makes the task worthwhile is the outcome. And until I was able to push that aside, I would never be able to get started piece by piece. But if all that mattered was doing a piece, just the act itself, not some kind of outcome from it, I could manage that. And in that moment, I felt something I hadn't in a really long time. Relief, a sense of agency, like I could finally breathe and just work. Here's the shift that changed everything. I stopped trying to perform my way out of overwhelm and started building trust with myself, one tiny action at a time. Every time I paused and asked, what would make this feel safer or more doable right now? I was teaching myself that I wasn't in danger, and the results began to compound. I finished projects I'd been avoiding for months. I got my routines back in check. I felt calmer sitting down to work. I stopped spiraling when things didn't go perfectly because I wasn't just doing tasks anymore for the outcome. I was tending to a part of myself that used to shut down, and slowly it stopped needing to. If you've also found yourself in this kind of cycle of freezing and avoiding and shutting down, I want you to know that there's a way forward that doesn't require punishing yourself or pretending everything's fine or thinking that you're the only person acting like this. Inside my program, I help highly ambitious individuals untangle the roots of self-sabotaging behaviors so they can move through this overwhelm, procrastination, and perfectionism with clarity and self-trust. If you're ready to feel like you can breathe again when you sit down to work or want to go get some chores done, if you're ready for tools that are rooted in compassion and help you build your own systems, I'd love to invite you to book a free discovery call with me. It's a space to talk honestly about what's been holding you back and whether this kind of support could finally help you move forward. You'll find the link below. I would love to hear your story. And as always, stay in this corner of the internet as long as you need.